Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to Align Plans. So today, as you can tell by the title, we are continuing our series called Is It For You? And today we're going to be examining the very popular Hobonichi weeks. So what you can expect from this video is we're going to be looking at about 5 reasons as to why this planner might be for you, who is it really suitable for, and 5 reasons or 5 alternatives as to when it's not really for you. So we're going to go through 5 different scenarios where it might not be the most ideal planner for you, and we'll go through 5 scenarios where it's an absolute best decision for you. So if you're on the verge of kind of like looking at your pros and cons and trying to figure out if this is for you, this video is definitely designed with you in mind. And of course, if you're brand new, hello, my name is Meshi and I'm the person behind Align Plans. We chat a couple of times a week on this channel. And the idea behind this channel is really for us to kind of make more mindful decisions when it comes to our planning and our stationery. We talk about minimalist planning. We kind of go through a lot in this channel. So if that's your vibe and you're done looking at your stationery collecting dust, you would probably really enjoy it here. So let's get started. And if you haven't seen the first installment of this series, I will just put it in the cards above me right here. But basically, the idea with this series is so that you can really see yourself most benefiting from whatever we end up reviewing, whether that's a planner, it's a stationery box, it's a stationery item, it's a fountain pen, whatever it is. Sometimes one of the best ways that we can kind of see if something is for us is really, besides just like looking at reviews and seeing the product itself in action, sometimes it's really nice when someone actually sits you down and kind of tells you, this will be ideal for you if. So that's kind of where the idea comes from. Okay, let's get started. But first of all, if you're not familiar with the Hobonichi weeks, this is what she looks like. It's a relatively small compact planner from Hobonichi. This is by far almost one of their smallest. They do have one smaller, more compact version of this. But as the name suggests, it's a weekly planner. Generally within one little booklet, you get the entire year. And yeah, super popular. A lot of people love it for a multitude of reasons, obviously. Hobonichi definitely has a cult following. I'm not really here to kind of go through the specs and the sizing because honestly, you can actually find that on Hobonichi's website. I will leave the link to their website in the description. You can buy Hobonichi like relatively anywhere, any of the major stationery stores that's close to you. So it is relatively accessible. Also, Amazon is, Amazon has it as well. I wouldn't recommend getting it through Amazon because most of the sellers like just completely overprice it. So that's not really the most ideal place to get it from. Okay, who is it really for? Well, for obvious reasons, this planner is going to be ideal and it's going to be for you if you're looking for something relatively small and compact. And I mean, for the most part, when we're looking at planner sizes, if we're looking at, I'm just going to show you in comparison. So this is an A5. This is a notebook that I'm using as a journal, but this is an A5 planner. So for the most part, if this is what you're familiar with, having a Hobonichi weeks cuts down your real estate quite a bit. Like it's almost half the size. And so it's shorter and slimmer all at the same time. And the fact that we can fit an entire year into a relatively slim little book, it's quite appealing for a lot of us. And I mean, depending on like the cover that you end up getting, it is a hard-covered planner, which means that yes, it makes sense for you to get a cover for it, but it's not absolutely necessary. So it's not the same type of situation that you would have with, let's say, the Hobonichi cousin, its bigger brother, where really the cover itself is almost like a cardboard, but it's a relatively flimsy one at best. So I mean, most of us have like a plastic cover over it and then another cover to protect that, just so that we can kind of have like our setup going on. So it's a significantly smaller investment when it comes to that. So the obvious reason why you would want to go for a smaller planner like this is because of the size, because it's compact, it's quick, and it's portable, and you have the whole year here. Now, the second reason, you have multiple planners and you needed a little companion planner. So a companion planner would be something like you have all the spaces here where you're using this either as like a mental health journal, or you're using this as literally like a little helper, something that you have on the go. So your main planner, something like the Hobonichi Cousin, is relatively big, it's relatively bulky, it's significantly heavier. So you might leave that at home at your desk where you literally reference everything. And then you have your little companion book that has the same idea where you have like your monthly layout with your quick little reminders, and then you also have like your weeks where you can really reference anything and everything that is going on, but you might use a significantly shorter format. It's more of a reference than the main place where you kind of like plan everything. Now, the third reason why this might be ideal for you is because you want a more minimal functional setup. What do I mean by that? So a minimal functional setup, I'll show you like one of the spreads that I've done. That would be, actually most of my spreads are pretty consistent. They pretty much follow the same type of format, but I want to show you one where I'm really not using too many like decor. Okay, this would be like an ideal like layout. So I have like a little bit of decor here, and then you kind of set up into different sections, but it's very much set up so that I quickly glance at it, I see like what kind of pops off the page, and then I look through the inbox to see sort of what's going on. And let's zoom you in so that you can kind of see what I'm looking at. Again, most of my spreads are really, really similar to one another. I don't like mess around too much with playing around with too many different spreads. But yeah, like basically like I might have some decor here, something about mindfulness. Then here on the weekly section, I would have like all my inbox, my priorities, a small tracker, and then what's coming out for next week. So it's relatively consistent. And then here on this side, I would have, well, in this case, I would have social, I would have like my events. But for the most part, this would be ideal. Okay, so this is fairly minimal. This would be a good idea to kind of use it as reference. So here you might see something where it's you just want the bare bone basics. So just give me the priorities, give me the inbox, a small letter tracker, and then what's happening for the following week so that you have your reminders kind of in place. Another one of the reasons why this might be ideal for you is because you are coming from a bullet journal and you really don't feel like setting up your weeks anymore. You don't feel like constantly spending time on, you know, drawing out your months and setting out your weeks, and you're just kind of tired of it. You want something that's already pre-made for you. So you kind of have this template, and then you can just spend a little bit of time decorating, but mainly just dumping most of the information here and making it as functional or as decorative as possible. So the fact that we have this level of flexibility kind of makes it ideal for a lot of us. So it becomes like this huge inclusive group, because really you can go as minimal or as decorative as you really want it to, which is kind of really nice. Now, this will also be ideal for you if you want a setup where the entire year is all in one place. So not only do we have access to the full year worth of monthlies, but then you also have access to like maybe a perpetual calendar where you can kind of look back and sort of keep track of everything. And then you also have the full year in one booklet where you can go all the way up to and pre-plan anything and everything that is going on in your life. So if you're looking for that ideal setup where everything is in one small little booklet, then you would probably really love this, just simply for the fact that you don't have to keep flipping back and forth into different planner systems. You don't have to worry if you have, you know, like an annual calendar, because as soon as you open this guy up, you have access to like the 2024 calendar, you have the current year's calendar, you can make notes. So I mean, like the possibilities are absolutely endless when it comes to that. And you have a decent amount of space within your monthlies where you can really just lay out any birthdays, when you're getting paid, like any major events that are really going on, vacations and so forth. So This would be for you if you want something small and compact, but you want something condensed enough so that it's all in one place. Now we've talked about the good, and I haven't really mentioned too much of what happens when you kind of run out of space. Then you can obviously go to the back pages, to the note section, where you can really have all the freedom that you need. I didn't mention this because the main thing that I really want to focus on is the bulk of the planner. But the main reason why you would really love this, honestly, is because it's not only fantastic as a companion, but it's flexible enough that it can really meet most of your needs if you're a minimalist planner. And keep that in mind, because now we're going to go into what happens when this is not for you. Who is this really not ideal for, or it's not the most efficient tool for? And it's not to say that you couldn't get it and you wouldn't get value out of it, but it's 100% definitely to say that it's not the most ideal tool. Like, there's probably better tools out there for you. There's better planner systems out there for you that would meet most of your needs. You're going to hate this, like with a passion, if you hate Tombow River paper. And I know I'm going to probably get a lot of slack for this because most of us absolutely love Tombow River paper, but keep in mind, this paper is pretty thin, right? And if you're planning with like a ballpoint pen, most of this will kind of like not just ghost through, but it will create an indentation if you're not using like a pencil board. So let's say you didn't buy a pencil board, you just bought the planner and you've been planning with, there's no, like, we don't understand the word gel pen, we don't understand the word fountain pen, like you don't even walk down that aisle, you're simply a ballpoint pen girly. Then, and if you press just a little bit harder, then this will ghost. If you use a lot of highlighters, this will more than likely ghost. Not all the time, but like you will be able to see through it. Tombow River paper is one of those things where it's delicate. It takes on a lot of mediums, but it's not ideal for a lot of mediums. It's not meant for it, right? It's okay, like it will take it, but it's just, at the end of the day, like I can throw watercolor at this and it will be fine, but the paper will look like garbage, like when I kind of look back. So is it really ideal for it? No, it's not. Like I've tried it, trust me, and like my paper kind of wrinkles and whatever. So it's really not going to be ideal. And it's, instead of just kind of making peace with it that, oh yeah, for sure, like it can take the medium. Yeah, it can, but like, is that the look that you really want? Because honestly, like you don't want, like if you don't want your planner to kind of look like a salad at the end of the year, then you will probably hate this. You look back at it and you're just gonna be like, ugh, like what happened? Like it looks like my dog chewed it up. So if that's not the look that you're looking for, then you would probably not, you might have a hard time with Tombow River paper. And most of us actually look at that as like a positive. We look at that like it's a pro. And I do love Tombow River paper. I think that it's very smooth. If you love a little bit of a feedback, so a great example of that would be Midori. Midori has a totally different type of pen and even just a feedback. But this type of paper, the paper that Midori uses, it gives a little bit of a grip to the pen, whether I'm using a fountain pen or if I'm using, you know, any of my Muji pens or a ballpoint pen or anything from Sarasa. It's still, if you love that little bit of feedback, then you might actually be a little bit happier with this versus with Tombow River paper. So just kind of keep that in mind. Next up, it's not going to be for you if you absolutely hate the freaking cream colored paper. Like if this color triggers you, if you hate cream colored and you really, really, really love really white colored paper, and I'll show you the difference. This is white, this is cream. So this is the common planner. Just look at the difference. Here's a nice zoomed in version. Honestly, you're better off actually just getting the common planner in that same size. But just keep that in mind. This is a cream color page, which means that most of your colors, most of your fountain pens, most of your highlighters will look different because it's more like a beige feedback. And so just kind of keep that in mind. Some people love it, some people hate it. I personally don't care. To me, it doesn't make it or break the experience. I don't actually notice it. I find this pleasant, but it's not one of those things where I like fully worry about it. I would worry about it if you would really notice this when most of your stickers are like these little icon stickers and it has like a white background. Most of mine, as you can tell, are clear, so it really doesn't affect anything. But if you have like a lot of like white backed stickers, you might notice it and it might annoy you. So just keep that in mind. So some people really hate the cream colored pages. It's also not going to be for you if, so this would be like my husband. My husband would fall into this category, which is why I never bought this for him for the year. This is not going to be for you if your handwriting is huge. And I will just put a picture here on the screen. I'll just pop it right here so you can take a look. His handwriting is big, which means that he might only write like maybe 2 sentences on a page. But when he does, like that takes up like an A5 size. So like for him, the planners that we have to always look at, it has to be an A5 size, whether it's a notebook or it's a planner system or it's inserts. So you would hate this because you can only write like something relatively small. And there are ideal size pens for this where you're not really going to notice too much. But if your handwriting is a little bit bigger, just keep in mind that these spaces are relatively limited, which is, again, like you can look at this like a benefit or you can look at it like a setback. If your handwriting is a little bit larger, just know that you can only fit minimal amounts of information here. And then you can still use the notebook. So it's not to say that you couldn't make it work, but it's to say to just be aware of it, right? So that's more just like bringing awareness to the fact that because it's a smaller planner, you're not going to have like these massive spaces for dedicated for each day. Could this layout change and then you could make it work? Yeah, for sure. But just keep in mind that like when you're aware of how much space is actually available, and I mean, I can put, just for reference sake, it's about a size of a quarter. So that's like the width of, so when you're looking at like a size of a quarter, like as far as width is concerned, that's how much space you get. And there's nothing wrong with that. This is not going to be for you if you constantly need different types of inserts to keep you on track on certain things. So let's say you're coming from, I'll just use this. So let's say you're coming from like a ring bound planner like this one, where you have like, you know, your inserts for finance, and then you have your journal inserts, and then you have your weekly, and then you have your daily, and sometimes you want to switch out your daily because you love the variety. Sometimes you use your daily, sometimes you don't. Sometimes you really need it because you need extra space. Sometimes you really want to change out your dashboards. And other times you really just want like an awesome tracker that's just very clean and simple. And other times you really just want like a full note section. And sometimes you want to be able to add like cash envelopes. Okay, so if that's the case, you will hate this because what you do receive here is a monthly, a weekly, and a note section. You just got blank notes. That's it. Can you draw out your trackers? Can you put in your finances? Can you? Yes, you can. If you want something being done for you, this is not it. This is literally you do this for yourself. So you will draw out your trackers, you will add, or like you make it printable and then you just like paste it in. But by the time we're doing that, I just want you to ask yourself, is this really the most ideal place to do that? Is this the most ideal setup for you at that point? By the time we're literally buying a setup and then we're going out and then we're printing these inserts that we would like to paste in here. So we're printing paper onto paper and we're pasting it in here just so that we have it. To me, can you do it? Yes. Is it like, I don't know. It's like, so when I see people doing this and then like they DIY their way through to make the Hobonichi work with like adding like a dashboard and then the this and that, it's like, it's almost like we're not understanding the function of that planner setup as it works most ideally. And I'm not saying that if that's you doing it, like, and it works for you, go for it. To me, like, you would never see me do that, because if I'm doing that, if I'm buying like a finance insert, I'm not pasting it in here. I'm going to go and like just print it out like a normal person, and I'm going to put it into my ring bound planner, because that's what that tells me, is that I needed a specific insert, and I'm going to put it into the ring bound planner, which is what it was intended for. Can I use it here? Yeah, of course you could, but it's like, it looks weird. It doesn't look like it's really meant, it wasn't created for being in Hobonichi weeks. So that's all I'm going to say about that. You can debate me on it, it's totally fine, but like, can you write like this huge tracker of like these monthlies and whatever? You can, but it's sort of like, I don't know, like I have like a thing with trackers where sometimes I just really don't think that, I don't know, like I have a weird relationship with trackers. Some people really love them, and if it's working for you, more power to you. I don't see myself spending like an hour like setting it up and then like just coming back so I can like just cross out like this one little square in my booklet. I don't know, like this, for some people, like that's super motivating. For me, it's sort of like a really redundant exercise. So that's kind of why I don't really buy into it too much, but that's just me going on a tangent on trackers. So those are really like the main reasons when you would know that it's not really for you. So if you really hate Tombow River paper, if you hate the cream colored booklet, actually I would also add one more, if you really wanted daily inserts, or if you wanted like something that like a dedicated space for your dailies, where like that's how much space you get, and a separate like little layout, and it's consistent, then you will probably hate this, because there's no dailies in here. You can make them daily, obviously. You can use these, the note section however you wish. But if you're really craving that structure of the monthly, of the weekly, and the daily layout, then this will kind of leave you a little bit disappointed, a little bit shortchanged, because it will always feel like something is missing from the system. If you learn how the system works, and if you learn how you can make the absolute best of it, and you can get so much horsepower out of this little booklet, it's a fantastic tool. It's fantastic. Hence why it has such a huge following. But I would just caution you that if you're the type of person that writes big, that really, you know, or you just have multiple planners that are already like fulfilling most of those needs, then it might just be a redundant purchase, because you might actually just feel like, like what was the point of me purchasing this? And sometimes we do fall into that because like the cover is cute, or because it's such a cute small little whatever that it's like, oh, of course we're gonna make it work. So unless you have like a specific function for this, which kind of goes to say, like, make sure that like these purchases are, the whole point of the series, to be honest, is to kind of teach you how you can make more mindful based choices when it comes to purchasing anything stationary. So if you kind of know what you're going to be walking yourself into, then this becomes a lot easier, and you're not kind of left disappointed, and you're not wasting your money. So this is basically the gist of it. This is what I wanted to share with you. I would love to know one of the reasons, like, how do you use your Hobonichi weeks? I'm currently using this almost as like my main planner. I do use the VDS planner as sort of like a catch-all for both work and for home, but really primarily this is what I use if I'm looking to reference anything within sinking funds. And it's sort of like a beautiful like helper to all of the other systems and notebooks that I'm currently using, but this pretty much catches most of the things that like I'm currently involved in. And I would love to know, let me know how you're using it, if you do have one, and or if you're planning on purchasing one for 2024. Let me know in the comments. I would love to hear from you guys. And that's all I have for you. I hope that you have enjoyed this video. If you did, then you can give it a thumbs up. You can support the channel, obviously, but just you hanging out with me also just means the world to me. Thanks so much for coming by, you guys, and I will see you guys again in my next one.